He just cut collective bargaining rights for 400,000 people at the VA, workers that he claims he cares about. The president tweeted that he wants to redo the census. That could disenfranchise tens of millions of people in this country. One of the first moves that President Trump did when he first came into office was firing inspectors generals across different agencies.
I have a couple clips of Democrat Dan Coe on MSNBC just lighting up the Trump administration, their corruption, and just their failed policies. So if you can, leave us a like on the video. It lets us know you enjoy the content. It gets us out there in the algorithm. And let's get right to the video.
He says, "I'm your retribution." He just cut collective bargaining rights for 400,000 people at the VA, workers that he claims he cares about. He also cut mine safety health program that would help people with black lung disease after coming out of the mines. We are seeing this over and over again. He's proposing cutting 35% of the Department of Labor, young people who are at risk, who need job training. So there's all of this talk that I'm your fighter, but behind the scenes, the real story about revenge is he's getting revenge on the working class people that he claims he wants to fight for.
And this is why I've always found it wild that most veterans vote Republican, even though Republicans are actively trying to screw them in every way. The VA, by Republican design, mind you, is massively underfunded and understaffed, which obviously leads to inefficiencies, with Trump only further adding to that with more cuts, including the cuts of programs like he mentioned. And these sick fucks have the nerve to, on top of defunding this for our veterans, to try to use that for political gain rather than fixing the problem and saying, oh, publicly funded health bad. Look at the VA, knowing damn well that it's bad by their design because they cut funding from it, refuse to fund it and staff it to the levels it needs, which again, especially disgusting considering it's for veterans, people who have given everything to this country and our freedom. And it also should be noted the VA is for more than just healthcare as well. But that's the usual talking point because MAGA can't point to Medicaid and Medicare without fully exposing how they're lying to everyone.
This president's number one learning from term 1 to term 2 was that loyalty, not qualifications, is the number one priority for him. And that means that he can control all of these people. One example is the president tweeted that he wants to redo the census. That could disenfranchise tens of millions of people in this country as a result. That is overseen by the Department of Commerce. Howard Lutnick is a loyalist, and he will do whatever it takes to please Donald Trump, right? Wilbur Ross was in the bad graces of Donald Trump after he wasn't successful with the census modification in 2019. This is something that Trump knows, and he will hire these loyalists to help skirt the law, and certainly the legislature is not serving as that check either. So this is just continuously unchecked power based on loyalty alone and not qualifications.
Tie DEI, party of merit, by the way, guys. Funny how they have a lot less to say about Trump's clearly unqualified cabinet than the constant complaints they had about the qualified black people in Biden's cabinet. I wonder why. I wonder why the MAGA in my comments don't hold the same energy for Trump's historically white cabinet. It's almost like we all know the reason, right? You're not fooling anyone. The redoing of the census also is just another way to cheat democracy, along with the gerrymandering of, or I should say re-gerrymandering of the already second most gerrymandered state in this country, that being Texas. And also the census changing is unconstitutional. The 14th Amendment is clear that apportionment is based on the numbers of persons in a state, not citizens. These people should read the thing they claim to want to conserve. It's horrendously stupid. Federal funding formulas depend on the census. If there's a high number of undocumented people, like the population is high, but the resources are given based on a number that excludes them, then clearly resources are going to be drained faster than expected as there's going to be less than needed. Undocumented immigrants also, just on a pragmatic level, still pay taxes, they work, they're subject to US laws and courts, but yeah, let's just remove them from the census. It's so clear what they want to do. They're trying to find any way to erode democracy.
Biden appointed a special counsel to investigate and prosecute Donald Trump. I'm guessing you don't think that's a fair and equal comparison.
Well, he also made sure there was some separation on the investigation of his son. He believed deeply in an independent DOJ. And honestly, historically, Republican and Democratic administrations have felt this way. One of the first moves that President Trump did when he first came into office was firing inspectors generals across different agencies. I worked with those agencies. Inspectors general's job is to be independent and to be a check on many of the appointed secretaries. This is a stunning contrast. One other thing I would say, we were so careful in the cabinet secretary's office that even certain holiday party invites we couldn't send directly to the DOJ. We would go through the White House counsel's office because we respected that independence.
You have Democrats in the executive, Biden, everyone else, distancing themselves from the DOJ in these high-profile cases to the fullest extent, extricating duties to an independent counsel so they don't have to be connected to it at all. Yet MAGA still claim political persecution, banana republic, Michael Colangelo, any little straw they could connect, right? Really, I think they were scared dad was going to go to jail, and this is kind of how they cope. Like, they're the kind of men who feel like they can't cry. But you turn the tables, Trump is now actively directing the DOJ, like not even trying to hide it, as he tells the DOJ to go after his enemies, largely to distract from the fact he's on the Epstein list. He's doing public interviews, calling for the arrest of sitting Democrat senators, high-profile Democrats, those who prosecuted the Jan 6ers, right? And MAGA has literally nothing to say about it. That is telling about each and every one of these people who feel like they can just go without saying it. Because the reality is, on the right, you either outright are supporting this and you're cheering it on, or your mum's the word about it. You're never talking about it. And to the extent you do, it's to try and like carry water for it a little bit, but pretending you're like, oh, I believe both sides and I'm in the center. But really they're partisan hacks who will never have the same energy for the right that they have for the left. And they just pretend to do so they can feel better about themselves. Many of these clowns exist in my comments and they still expect to be taken serious for some reason. I, however, am more focused on exposing the Trump administration for their direct attacks on our democracy.